Hello. Welcome to Anime Plus episode 94. Hi from my corner. I'm alone today in the studio. If you watched last week's episode of Anime Plus, you already know that because, we're recording this right after last week's episode. It's episode 94. I got Zach on Discord because he could not leave his house due to construction. How you doing, Zach?
I hope it's good on your side because watching it through Discord, all those frames are just fucking gone.
Okay.
Switching screen.
It looks good on my side. That's the main thing. I do see what you mean, though. Everything, even on Discord for me on this monitor, looks good. It all looks good on Streamlabs. As long as Streamlabs doesn't crash like it did before we ever started doing either of these shows, we're good. It randomly crashed. But anyway, how are you doing? You're still trapped at your house looking at Pokemon Scarlet right now. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm actually very looking forward to this episode and just how deep we're going to get to go with Tokyo Revengers now that the series is over.
Yep, that's the big topic. We've already mentioned it for a couple weeks now, that we're going to do a big spoiler cast here today, talking about Tokyo Revengers since the series, the manga, has officially come to a close. So, saying it right now, this episode will have heavy spoilers. So if you hate spoilers and you really loved season 1 of Tokyo Revengers, go listen to something else. Don't listen to this episode. I will say here at the very beginning, we will give a general thought on the series without spoiling. So you can listen to that and then get the hell out of here. We'll make sure to let you know when that's going to start, of course. But it's been a while since we've done a manga-related spoiler cast. Last one was like My Hero and One Piece. And to put in perspective of how long ago that's been, when we did the My Hero one, it was covering manga material that's being animated right now with season 6. So it's been probably a year and a half. It's been a while, so we wanted to do this for Tokyo Revengers. Also, mostly because when this is coming out, of course, happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you're going to have a wonderful Thanksgiving and a safe and fun Black Friday shopping experience if you go out or if you shop online. Hopefully you get a lot of great stuff. We don't record episodes on the week of Thanksgiving with the exception of a terrible football show. Game Static and Man Plus will both be on a break. Technically, Anime Plus has this pre-recorded episode coming out, but no anime, no manga ratings or anything for this episode. We'll follow that back up with episode 95, which will be the first episode of our live shows, which I'm really excited for that. If you could check us out at our website, sparky3.com. Join the Discord. Go to Agent Inc. and buy a jersey. We definitely appreciate that. You can get it through a firm to pay later if you don't want to dish out the cash right now. I totally understand. We have the holidays and all, so I get it. No big deal. But we definitely appreciate that support. Even if you just bought a hat. Buy a hat. We'd appreciate that. To use our referral link down below for some Rogue Energy as well. And that would be a massive support for us. And of course, shout out to the Josh Pillow. We can't have a podcast of Sparky 3 without that handsome ass motherfucker on the couch. He is here with us at all times. Start turning down the music, go to both of us. Boom, here we go. So, yeah.
I really hope one day if someone felt the need to complete their collection, stole that pillow to go with the body pillow.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully that body pillow shows up one day. If you guys come across a Josh body pillow that looks just like that pillow on screen, but it's a body, please tag me out at AlexLight23 on Twitter. We'll see if it'll be on Twitter. Twitter, I feel like it's going to implode any day now, but
yeah, that's a whole fun stuff.
You can find me somewhere. youtube.com/Sparky3, youtube.com/@AnimanPlus. You can find me somewhere, and just let me know. Join the website. You can comment there too. Join the Discord. That's probably the best way right there. Join the Discord. You can chat with me there, and Zach, and whoever else wants to actually communicate.
Man, no one on our team.
Our team is pretty well. The ATFS crew, me, like Jacob and Ricky mostly. Not so much Shane. Shane's kind of he's a lurker. Shane's a lurker, and that's fine. I'm a lurker. I'm a hardcore
the same
lurker.
camp as John and me.
Yeah. You three are some big lurkers. I am too. But in that Discord, I try my best to be active to some extent. But anyway. But yeah, Tokyo Revengers has officially come to a close with chapter 278. And this series, of course, been going on for a few years now, but it didn't really catch its major steam of popularity until the anime came out. Once the anime came out, holy shit. The sales on these volumes exploded to the same degree of what we see out of a One Piece, a Demon Slayer, a JJK. Like, this shit's unbelievable. You're selling like 500,000 copies easy per volume. Like, it's woo.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It had like 4 to 5 copies of different volumes within the top like 25 for several months.
Yes.
Probably still has at least two or three.
Yeah, at this point, probably 2 or 3. I know when Anime Plus News was a thing. Shout out to that. Rest in peace. And I was doing the manga volume sales, and I was looking at like the top 5 in Japan right now. Just me looking at that list of like, because I think the website that I used, Oricon, whatever, it covers up to I think top 50 currently selling. Bro, going through just the top 20, it's like every volume of Tokyo Avengers was there.
Yeah.
Like the top 10 alone would legit have like 7 volumes of Tokyo Revengers. It's unreal.
And it was only at like 22 or 23 volumes at that time.
Exactly. We of course had the live action movie that came out. I did get to watch that. It was actually really good, and I wasn't upset personally with changes they made to the story to make it seem like one complete story for a film, because I think they made that film where the mindset we won't make another one, but now there is.
And they got greenlit.
Yeah, then they got greenlit for a second. So I'm not messed up about the plot changes they made to the movie, but the movie was good. The manga sales have been incredible, all thanks to pretty much when this anime came out. The anime really blew up this series.
Oh, yes,
and put it into a different limelight there. But just like general thoughts, this is our non-spoiler portion of this video. Everything else will be full spoilers. So after this, if you hate spoilers, you need to dip out, because we will hold literally nothing back. This is the entire focus of this video. But no spoilers here. Your general thoughts in the series, even with how this last arc went, the last 10 chapters. How much would you recommend this series to someone? What would you give the whole series as a whole out of 10? How much do you think it impacted the delinquent genre? And I'm asking you that part specifically, because you've checked out more delinquent stuff than me. I've not checked out a lot of delinquent stuff at all. Pretty much this and Weak Hero is my only dabble into it. Regardless of if you've checked out a lot or not, more than me, and that's the big thing. So how just overall, like for you, out of 10, general thoughts, recommendation, and how much impact it had to the delinquent genre.
My general thoughts overall, it was very enjoyable. I would still recommend this series to people, even with the last couple chapters. I feel like those chapters might actually do better just doing a straight read versus us having to wait week by week.
Right.
Because waiting week by week was definitely much more of a what the fuck?
Yeah. Just hey, I'll press. Hang on, music's still playing. All right, there we go.
What the?
Just a big what the fuck every week.
Versus if you were able to just read straight through it, I think it would flow better.
Mm-hmm.
It would still take a hard turn, but it would still flow better. In terms of delinquent style genre, I feel like just because of how popular it blew up and how easy people were more able to get into it, I feel like it'll definitely have a change on sort of that genre, but I don't think it'll do any justice for any future ones, just because now they're going to be compared to Tokyo Revengers. And in some people's minds in that genre, it is definitely a very mild in that genre for delinquency style stuff versus some of like the harder series that are out there that are much more into it.
That's where I was going to kind of lead with that question, because like one thing that I've seen on Twitter since this series has come to a close is like one person said that this is the worst delinquent series of all time to them, because they said they cannot forgive Tokyo Revengers for what it did to the delinquent genre, basically saying that it put a negative light on the genre itself because of how this series is so basically mid in their mind, and the popularity that it blew up, and just some of the ridiculous plot points that this series did.
Oh yeah, easily.
Okay.
Because I enjoyed the series itself, but if I put it in terms of delinquency and the delinquent genre, it is very mid and it's very mild, just because it takes some wild fucking turns.
Yeah, it fucking does.
Yeah, because if you were personally going to put in delinquency stuff, you would need to take out all the time looping bullshit.
Right.
So take out all the time looping stuff and all that fun stuff and just do the stuff when Takamichi's in the past, and consider that, and just look at all that as the manga, and it's very mid and sort of. There's much better stuff in there for if you want like a true delinquent manga.
Mm-hmm. Now, would this be a good entry point for delinquent mangas?
No.
Oh, okay. What would be a good entry point?
I could not give you one off the top of my head because I didn't know you were gonna ask this question.
It just
And it's
popped
been a
in my
while since
brain.
I've read any.
It just popped in my brain. I'm sorry. Now, what would you give the series out of 10?
Uh, Overall, probably like a 6.5.
Okay. And that's what I was kind of hoping for out of you, is a little bit harsher when it comes to grading, right? Because like when it comes to certain things, like I'll spout out like tens and nines and stuff, for our manga chapter ratings, for example. But when it comes to really reviewing a series as a whole, I'm very critical, where I don't give a lot of nines, I don't give a lot of tens, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
actually pulling up my anime list right now to give examples. So for tens for me, I only have 5 tens, and 2 of the 10s of the same series, and that being 86 Part 1 and 2. And this being anime, so that's why it's listed as obviously 2 different listings on my anime list. But I have 5 tens. That's it. And then I have a handful of nines, and then I have a decent amount of eights, decent amount of sevens, sixes, and it just keeps going down. I don't give out the high ratings when I'm really judging it critically, because I have a very weird thing about my brain that I'm very thankful for, because it really makes for some potential entertaining content for me for videos, is that I have the ability to completely separate my own biasness and just strictly judge it from like a critic standpoint. So a great example, if you haven't checked it out, you definitely should. Not long over the summer, I did my most recent updated MCU tier listing up to Miss Marvel and Thor: Love and Thunder. And in that video, I actually tiered everything twice. I had 2 different tier lists pulled up at the same time, and I tiered everything based on personal opinion, like how biased I am towards certain series, and then if I was a critic, where I took out my own and you see the fluctuation on series, where I have like one series as an S tier, but I openly say, look, it's not an S tier movie, it's not an S tier show, it's just an S tier to me, and here's why. But as a critic, it would be like probably like an A or a B. Like I get it, right? And that's how I kind of feel when it comes to Tokyo Revengers. Let me fix my camera real quick because it was tracking me. So, like, I will say, before this final arc, right? I see the problems with the show, but and the manga, like, before this final arc came, like, even before then, I saw the problems, right? But the series is a very fun and easy read. That's one of the
Yes.
biggest things I love about it, because I've read up to the Bonten arc probably 3 or 4 times in the time I've started to, because it's such an easy read. You can blow
Yeah, it
through it.
really
You
is.
can blow through it in an afternoon, because when I read Tokyo Revengers for the first time after watching like 5 episodes of the anime, I blew through everything in a single afternoon, a single Sunday afternoon, like 3-4 hours, read everything. It's a fast read, and I like that
Bang.
about it. I like that about it a lot. But I will say, everything that kind of came after that, because that's where it kind of started to go down for me. Before that, I would honestly give it probably like a 7.5 or maybe an 8, maybe. But that'd be a big stretch for me. Now, when it comes to the ending of a manga ending to an anime, that ending can really make or break the series for you. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
I wouldn't say this broke it for me, but it definitely knocked it down a bit, where I would probably give the entire series as a whole probably that 6.5 or 7 at best. I feel like that's fair for the series. You know what I mean? It's a fun series. There are some complaints that you can make about Takamichi. There's some very compelling parts about it with Mikey, who I relate to a lot in a few different ways, and Mikey's my favorite character. There's a lot of well, I don't want to say that for the non-spoiler part. It's just I think 6.5 or 7 is very fair for the series, in my opinion, and I'd still very much recommend it, because like we both just agreed upon, bro, it's such an easy read. It's an easy, fun fucking read. Like you will read it, and even though it is kind of stupid and stuff at times, it has a lot of ridiculous plot points, you can read it and honestly have a very fun time from
Yeah.
beginning to end. I mean, it is a fun time. It's stupid, has a lot of interesting points, has some really epic points, some high points, some very depressing points, some cool plot twists. There's a lot that this series can bring to the table, but I feel like as a whole, I feel like probably 6.5. I think that's fair, maybe a 7 if I'm being pretty generous. So, if I'm feeling generous, I'd give it a 7 in my opinion. But overall, great series. I can't comment on anything on the delinquent manga impact because, again, I haven't read many. Week Hero and this is my only dabble into it, really. And then if you want to count Yu Yu Hakusho for the first, 10 episodes, yeah, exactly. So, I don't have a hard tie to that genre, but I've seen a lot of people be very critical about it and its impact to the genre in a negative capacity since it's like the poster boy and it's mid. You know what I mean?
Oh no, it was funny whenever I first read through the series after watching the first episode. The one of the scanlations that I came across, they were scanning Tokyo Avengers just because it was a popular delinquents manga because they translated all the delinquent mangas, and at the end of each chapter they'd be like, they had like 3 extra panels like better mangas for whatever reason to similar characters. Go read these.
Damn, that is being very critical. Critical while scanning it. Jesus Christ.
Yes, it was funny.
Oh, that's amazing. But yeah, I mean, I still recommend it though. Like I said, it's a fun, faster. You can blow through these chapters quick, and that's the main thing. You can have fun with it. Any other thoughts in non-spoiler capacity? Are you ready to dive into it?
I mean, not really. I mean, overall, even though we do have our issues with the story, which we'll go into, all the characters are fairly entertaining and somewhat relatable. Even some of the ones
Engaging
in
in
the
some
later arcs
capacity. Yeah.
who don't get to shine as much.
Yeah, I agree to that. A lot. That's one of the big things about this series that I do actually really love a lot is just like how just engaging the cast is. It's got a very good cast of characters. Like as a whole across the board, there's not really any characters that you dislike or hate because they're a bad written character. You may dislike them or hate them because of the character, which keep in mind that's what you're supposed to do. That's the point of the character is you're supposed to hate X character. You're supposed to, you know what I mean? That's part of writing. But I don't really think there's really any characters that I just dislike because I just think they're a boring character or just like a poorly written character. Everyone is written overall pretty well. And I will say this, and I kind of like my final little tidbit for the non-spoiler fashion. And I always like to mention this when talking about Tokyo Revengers because like there could be so many people listening to this episode right now, right, who watched the first season and don't read the manga and have no idea about what I'm going to say, even though it's been talked about and we've even talked about it and other people have talked about it. It still gets lost in translation. Is one thing that feels so genuine and real about this series, minus the obvious time travel and that bullshit, is you got to keep in mind the author was in a gang. Like he was in a gang as a kid, and like you can feel his experiences of how the gangs are run and the formations of them and stuff in this series, and that makes it really compelling to me. Because I mean, like when it comes to him being, there's even a photo out there of him with his gang when he was a kid. Like that's a real thing. He was a delinquent. He was in a gang in Japan. So like it adds a sense of realism to me when reading this show. You know what I mean? Or reading the manga. Like that's one thing I've always personally really enjoyed about it is just knowing that he was in a gang, and you can feel that. You can really feel that with how the gangs operate. You know what I mean? Do you kind of feel the same on that?
I mean, yeah, you can definitely get that feeling that the author put in their own experiences and stuff that from when they were in it, and very much those early chapters.
Yeah, for sure. There are the chapters.
Yeah.
It's very heavy in your face on those. Yeah. But overall, Tokyo Revengers, very fun series. It's not the greatest thing of all time, but there's a lot of compelling things about it that we'd recommend. With that said, from this point on, full-blown spoilers of everything after season 1. So, bye-bye. You know, if you don't like the spoilers, let me hit the music for you to make your way out. Hopefully you have a great day. See you later. Get out of here. All right, done with that. So yeah, anyway, okay, so everything after season 1, I've got the arcs listed here for us. So we have the Black Dragon arc, which is the next season, season 2. That one is also being called the Christmas Showdown arc, is what we've usually referred it as. I mean, it's either or, both work.
I think in the actual manga it is actually called the Christmas.
I think it was
Silent Night. Silent Night is actually what it's called.
Silent Night, Christmas, whatever. Because I mean, we had the Bloody Halloween and now this one. So yeah, it was called Christmas in the manga, but Black Dragon arc also counts for it. The Tenjuku arc, which is also known as the Kanto Incident, which the Kanto Incident, I want to say we put that in our top 50 fights, didn't we? Or did we just reference it? because it was too
I
spoilers.
think we referenced it. I think we put Bloody Halloween in there.
Yeah, I remember putting Bloody Halloween for sure, but I wasn't sure if we put the Kanto incident. I think you're right. I think we referenced it, but we said we could not put it in because it's too much spoil. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
because that was
Yeah.
recent chapters at that time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And then we have the Bonton arc, which neither of us knew was an official arc until we started doing this. It's just a brief little 15 chapter stint. At one point, we didn't know it was an arc, but it's officially an arc, which I guess makes sense. The three deities arc, and then the Kanto Manji arc, which is the final arc of the series, the one that we just wrapped up. So I guess let's just go down in order. Start with the Black Dragon arc, the Christmas Showdown arc that season 2 is going to pretty much focus on. I don't think season 2 is going to be anything else, honestly, because season 1 was that 24 episode season that focused on Battle of 8-3 and Bloody Halloween. I feel like the anime going forward is going to be probably 12 or 13 episode seasons and focus on one thing and move on. You know what I mean? That's how I see it playing out. So the next season, season 3 would be strictly the Tenjuku arc, and that's it. And maybe end with the Bonton arc for season 3 because that's so short. You could wrap that up in a couple.
It really is short.
Yeah, and then I feel like season 4 and 5 would be maybe 3 deities in the Kanto Manji arc. But no, Black Dragon arc, Christmas arc. So this was a really interesting arc introducing the Black Dragons and the current leader being Taiju and everything. And it's this entire brothers sister dynamic of Taiju just being a complete and utter asshat. And as it's portrayed for a very long time, for an ultimate plot twist later, that the sister was getting the shit, the sister was getting the shit beat out of her, and the brother was taking the beatings, the younger brother taking the beatings from Taiju, which the younger brother is Haki, right? Hakai. How do you pronounce his name?
That sounds close enough.
Hakai. We'll go with Hakai. I did have a list of names here for characters that I forget their names for. But and he's part of the Tokyo Manga gang currently, and he was under Mitsuya, wasn't he? He was in Mitsuya's division, which is what, first or second division?
Second division.
Second division, yeah. So yeah, he was in Mitsuya's division as what is was he just in the division or was he his vice?
He was his vice.
Okay, that's what I thought. So this whole arc is really dope because it has a lot of focus on Mitsuya, who I'm a big fan of. I think Mitsuya's a dope ass character. So having a big focus on him in this arc was really sweet. But with the way this arc is kind of built up, like I said, it's built on a big sibling abuse sort of story plot is where we're focusing on. And it ultimately comes with a massive plot twist that honestly, when I was reading it, completely caught me off guard. Completely did not see the plot twist coming personally. The plot twist being that it was the sister who was taking the beatings for the brother.
Yeah, it was such a big twist. I mean, this is the whole thing because it's sort of taken off for what it ends up with season 1. It's just because season 1 actually ends up with the shooting of Shifuya. So we don't even get to see the actual end math of that.
Yep.
Is when Kisuke has Shifuya and Takemichi tied up, kills Shifuya, and what we actually miss, it leads off with another bang, which the season makes it seem more or less like Takemichi's been shot as well. But what it actually reveals is lights go out, there's a FBI raid, and Takemichi gets pulled out, and he gets pulled out by Kazutora, our mastermind from the Bloody Halloween and everything. He's now done his time. He's come back. He's sort of been in the shadows, still trying to work with Shifuya to try and bring down Kisuke and everything, because more or less Takemichi, as this head boss, more or less goes off the rails and starts doing some wild shit.
Yeah.
And even to the point of taking his friend, the red-haired one who I forget. Akun. He actually orders Akun to murder Hina.
Yeah. What a bombshell, right?
Yes, which fucking destroys Takemichi. He's like, what the fuck happened? Where'd everything wrong?
Yep.
Even gets to see a little video of him actually having that breakdown when he finds out that Kisuke had him order somebody to kill Hina, because he didn't know it was Hina at the time. He was just, Kisuke was like, get this done, and Takemichi's sort of cowering to Kisuke had it done.
Yeah.
Only later to find out about that, and just revealing that Takemichi became more or less a piece of shit and lost whatever will and whatnot he had from the Halloween stuff after he future him left past him's body.
Yep.
And Kazuto's just like, you fucked up, man, and shit like that, and leads to Takamichi deciding he needs to go back again, and leads into the whole Black Dragon stuff, because also before he got taken away, we see all those Black Dragon executives lining the table with all the Tokyo Majin people.
Yep.
Leads to him coming back to the past, focus on Hakake and Mitsuya, Hakage's family and everything, because his older brother's currently like the 7th or 8th generation leader of the Black Dragons.
I thought it was like 10th, wasn't it?
Was it 10th?
10th or 8th sound right. One of the two.
It might have been 8th.
Oh, you keep going. I'll look it up real quick.
And yeah, just revealing that Hakai is planning on more or less leaving at some point, resigning, and Takamichi recognizing him from the table of like, that's someone who was there, one of the executives, but he didn't really remember him, hadn't taken notice of him before this time. And he's trying to figure out how the guy who was with Mitsuya ended up being the head of the Black Dragons, leading all to this family stuff, and him going with Hakai to his family home, and Takamichi meeting Taiju, the current leader of the Black Dragons.
It is 10th, by the way.
It is 10th? Okay.
Yeah, Taiju is the 10th, and Takamichi ends up becoming the 11th.
The 11th.
Yeah.
What was their sister's name?
Let me look. Let me get the sister name. I did not get it on our list. I looked at the sister, and I'm like, I should add her. I'm like, nah, we'll be good. Yuzaha?
Okay. Meeting Yuzaha, and when they're meeting, getting fucking surrounded, and fucking Taiju literally shows up and punches the shit out of Takamichi. Just straight up beats the shit out of him.
Yep.
Upon their first meeting, and Taiguchi's like, what the fuck? Starts to get up to try and fight, and it gets brought down. I think Yuzaha ends up the one who sort of calms it down, and more or less Taiju's like, you need to join. You need to leave this small gang and shit like that. It's slowly building up this whole thing that eventually gets to the reveal that Taiju's beating the shit out of their siblings. The sister's taking the beatings for the younger brother when she's slowly getting domestically abused, which is sort of leading to Hakai eventually leading to him killing his brother, because Takamichi eventually figures out is Hakai kills his brother and takes over the Black Dragons to try and save his sister, but I think his sister ended up dying though still in that original future.
I believe so. Let me look.
As you can tell, people, it's been a bit since either of us have read the Black Dragon arc.
Yeah, that was good.
Silent Hill.
That was a good arc.
It was a good arc.
I don't see anything immediate. I'm just looking at like the fandom right now. I don't see immediately about her dying, but that
Okay,
does
maybe
sound
not
right.
then.
Here's synopsis. Let me look at that. Black Dragon arc. Let's see.
More or less, she gets fucked up and leads to Hakai
She does not
losing
die.
his shit.
She just gets fucked up.
Okay.
Yeah.
She gets real fucked up and leads to Hakai just losing his shit and stabbing the fuck out of Taiju, killing Taiju. And it's a whole weird thing, because it's a whole thing of them trying to keep Hakai with them so he doesn't end up killing his brother, but they don't want to involve the rest of the gang. So it ends up only being Takamichi, Mitsuya, Chifuya, and Hakai who end up confronting Taiju. Pretty much.
Yep, that's correct.
And
also wasn't Kisake, wasn't he also involved and like betrayed him or something? He was involved with this because he was still in Tokyo Manji gang at this point.
yes, he helped set them up their ambush of what they were going to do, because he finds out with Hanma where Taiju's going to be. Like, he goes to the church every Christmas Eve to pray or whatever. I don't remember if he actually fights with them, though. I think he does, though. Doesn't he?
Kisuke? No. He double crosses them. He straight set them up.
But yeah, no, he's the one that gives them the information and whatnot to where they can find Taiju, which leads to the Silent Hill or Silent Night fight 'Cause I feel like I'm missing some other important thing as well during that stuff.
I mean,
'Cause
I, I don't
we
think
get a
so.
lot of backstory about Mitsuya, how he met Hakai, them becoming close, and the whole sibling relationship and whatnot. And more or less Takamichi trying to keep Hakai and with the group and everything and deal with Taiju, which more or less comes down to the Silent Hill fight of them fighting in a church.
Yep.
Just Mitsuya, Chifuya, Takamichi, and then eventually Hakai, who's there and decides to join them to fight Taiju by himself. Like, just straight up, just Taiju. I don't think he literally had any of his guys in the room. It was just him in the church.
Correct. It was literally just him. That was the one time of the year where he was alone, was whenever he went to go pray on Christmas Eve. And that was the one
And
thing they were hoping for, was to get him alone.
in which it's a fairly entertaining fight and just shows you just how ridiculous Taiju is when he literally beats the shit out of 4 guys by himself.
Yes, with pretty well ease, honestly.
Yes.
A couple of those shots also he was delivering, it's just like, how is like Mitsuya alive? Like,
Yeah, like they were had fucking broken bones because they're literally getting crushing pews and stuff when they're being blown away.
Yeah. Honestly,
Takamichi and his usual Takamichi just getting the shit beat out of him, but keeps standing up.
yeah. And then the big arc comes to a close when Mikey comes in and just one shots him, basically. Which was a fun little couple chapters, because at first it was like, oh my god, Mikey lost, and then Mikey stands up the next chapter and just OHKOs him.
Yeah, just fucking cracks the shit out of him and just like, oh shit. And then after all that, they drag Taiju's ass out, and they're like, what about all the guys outside? There's no worry.
Draken took care of
Dragon's
it.
just chilling on the steps.
So
You weren't gonna invite us? And the entire Black Dragons are just fucking out.
yes, which also then gave you a past little preview where Mikey and Draken were just on a bike, and Mikey's just like, I have a feeling something's, or he's like, I think that's Mitsuya's bike that he heard, I think is what he said. He's like, I think something's gonna happen tonight.
And they literally just follow that, and it's just Draken and Mikey take out the entire Black Dragon crew by themselves when it takes 4 people to fight Taiju.
Yes. I mean,
It's sort of more cementing at that point just how ridiculous Draken and Mikey are compared to everyone else.
oh my god, it's unbelievable. They are the peaks, man. But no, I mean, overall, this arc was really good. Honestly, I think it was a very solid follow up to Bloody Hawk. Bloody Halloween was great. Bloody Halloween was so good.
The only thing that I have a problem with this arc is just sort of how that fight finishes. It was a bit lackluster.
Yeah, it was.
Of just how, after all that build up and whatnot, and we don't get the payoff with Takamichi or even Hakai.
Yeah.
And it's just Mikey coming in and she's like, alright, kick.
Boop, done. All right, let's move on, guys. Merry Christmas.
Let's go celebrate Christmas.
Yeah.
Because I think it was, if I remember correctly, doesn't also like Hina say something or whatnot to him at one point?
I think so, yeah. This was overall a pretty lengthy arc. There's a lot of things that happened that we didn't even cover. Like, one of the big key points that we didn't even reference here is we learned the foundation, the founding of the Black Dragons being Mikey's brother. Mikey's brother being the first Black Dragon leader. He founded them and founded them to be like this really cool, noble gang. And now, like, the whole point of this arc is just to see how far they've fallen, since he was the leader. And that's when you find out more about Mikey's brother, which you've already gotten teases and talks about as it is already, and plus obviously the big focus of him dying in the Bloody Halloween flashbacks and stuff. But talking about how his brother couldn't fight worth a damn like Takamichi. He just couldn't, but he always stood back up. That was the thing. He could take a lot of hits. He was like Takamichi. He could just take a lot of hits and just keep getting back up. So that was also kind of a key point. For me personally, my biggest takeaway from this arc, and I already mentioned it, was just how well they did the plot twist. Like, because like one of the big things about this arc that was set up amongst our characters, mostly like Takamichi, Chifuya, and Mitsuya, like Kisuke and his lackey who was working with him, whatever, they just went along, try to further gain their trust just to backstab him, right? Like that's all they were. But for the other characters, they are fully on the mindset of they're fighting for Hakai and what he is going through, where he is taking the beatings for his sister. Everyone is under that impression. No one knows that it's actually the reverse. So, like, when reading that, that was such a good plot twist of like, whoa, hold up, what? Hakai is the weakling and is afraid to take the beating, so the sister gets beat for it. Because like the
Yep.
thing that was done so well in that arc was the little snippets that it gave you, right? Of those scenes of when they were little kids and the beating started. You know what I mean? The little snippets of Taiju's like, oh, so you want to be the one to take the beatings? And it's written in this chapter a way where it's perceived that it's Hakai. And then you get that same scene chapters later where it shows the full version of that scene of Taiju was talking to the sister, not the brother. So it was done so well. It was done so well where I honestly didn't know it was coming. Like, it caught me off guard completely. That was my favorite part of this arc personally.
And also with this, we also get the slight introduction to Inoue and Kakucho, right? Oh no,
Yeah,
not Kakucho.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it was Kakucho.
Kakucho was the Scarhead dude.
So yeah, no, that not Kakucho yet. He comes in the next arc.
Yeah, one name that I did not get on here is I did not get the name of the one dude who like was handling finances, whatever. The guy who's really good at finance. I didn't get his name on our
That's
list.
Inoue, isn't it?
No, Shisui Inui. That's the one with the birthmark. The guy with like the black hair who was in love with like Inui's sister. That's the guy that was really good at finances.
Yeah, so Inoue's buddy.
Yeah. Okay. It's Hajime Kokunu. Kokunu. Kokunu.
Okunu. Okay.
Kokunu, yeah, Kokunu, Hajime Kokunu, yeah, that's the black haired dude who's got like almost Orochimaru style eyes and super good at
Yes.
finances. Yeah, that guy. Yeah,
The rich kid.
yep, correct. He is.
Him and Inoue are apparently fucking rich.
Yeah, he is. He was. Yeah, yes, right here. He was part of the 10th generation Black Dragon. So you were correct. Those two
Yeah,
were
it
introduced.
introduces those two for the first time during
Yeah,
this arc.
because in the next arc, like Kokunu, whatever, he becomes the Tenjuku Treasurer again, the finance
Yeah.
guy. That's his role. So
And yeah, because Inouye and him both end up joining whatever that group is.
Tenjuku.
Is that their actual name?
Yeah, it's that's the name of the group is Tenjuku.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's how it's listed here on like the fandom side. Yeah, because it's got the yin yang symbol, whatever. That's the symbol of the gang. Yeah, it's
Okay.
Tenjuku. Yeah, or it's also known as Yokohama Tenjuku as the full name. There you go. More we know, learning as we go. But yeah, any other thoughts on Black Dragon Christmas Showdown?
No, none, not really. I mean,
Alright.
I have most of the stuff that I remember from it.
All right, let's get to the next arc, which is still, now that the series is done, still my favorite arc of the series. I
Also,
love this arc.
also known as the B Squad instead of
Yes, the B Squad, baby. I love this arc, dude. I really do. Still now, like, I know it has like a couple problems with the arc and stuff here and there and stuff, but like, I love this arc. The Tenjuku arc, which is also known as the Kanto incident. This arc was awesome to me. So, after the fallout of the Christmas Showdown Black Dragon, like we talked about with Kisaki, who's been in the Tokyo Manga game, he is now expelled. He is now out of the gang. All right. And this is where he now joins Tenjuku, this gang. And you see that very quickly. You see this very quickly in this arc of that introduction. And as this arc goes on and you get introduced to a couple other characters, such as Azana, is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah.
Okay. Azana Kurokawa, which is apparently Mikey's other brother. Or they were kind of raised as siblings to an extent, is one thing that gets explored in this arc. He's the leader of the Tenjuku Guard, the founder of the Tenjuku Guard. So another one of those situations of we have another gang essentially that is anti-Mikey, which is going to set up the big conflict. And obviously Kisaki began it as well. Kisake. Is it Kisaki or Kizuke?
I always known it as Kisaki.
Kisaki. I keep saying two different names because I keep forgetting which one it is. But Kisaki, we'll go with that.
And
Like
we also get the actual introduction of Sanzu, who's a character who's just been fucking under the radar during this arc.
yeah, that's the dude with the scar. Well, he's always worn a mask actually, but you do get to see in this
Yes.
arc that he has like scars around his mouth and stuff, which you find out why they're there. I don't think this arc. I think it might be. Is it this arc that you find out? Do you get that backstory in this arc, or do you get it later? I think it's later. It's later.
I think it's this one.
Is it? No, it's later. It's totally later how he got it, because remember, it was the toy plane. That's
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right.
that's
Okay.
later. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, you do get a introduction to him as well in this arc. What was his name again?
Fonzu.
Sanzu. Thank you. Yep, there it is, Sanzu. Okay. But yeah, you get an introduction to him. You get the big introduction to Azana, who's going to be one of the main focuses of this arc, as well as Kisaki. Those two really being the forefront of this arc, and this is an arc of where it really feels like for a while everything's coming to forefront, with this Kisaki overarching antagonist. And at this point, reading the series, like, you're constantly in this situation of, is there another time leaper? Is there two? Like, that was a
Yeah,
big
that's the
question.
whole thing because even after the Black Dragon arc, Kisaki gets kicked out of the gang. Takamichi's like, yeah, great. Finally, Kisaki's out. He can't control anything. He goes back to the future again, and he wakes up in his apartment for the first time, and we get a repeat of the opening of the series. A truck's hit this stuff, but nobody was injured, thankfully, and whatnot. And everything is like, oh, great, everything's good. And he goes around and starts looking around and things, and just like he's seeing some of his friends he's made and whatnot.
Yep.
But then Mikey's gone.
Yep.
No one knows Mikey disappeared and whatnot.
Mhm.
And it starts getting hints of this other group that formed that Kisaki ended up being part of. Izana was part of. He even gets to see a picture of Izana, who has that yin yang symbol on the back and the fucking earrings.
Yep.
And so we're looking at it, it's like, is that Mikey? And it ends up being Mikey.
Is this the one where Takamichi goes like overseas to some place that Mikey talked
Yes.
about? Okay.
Yes, this
Yeah.
going to the future, present,
Yeah.
ends with him going overseas to like Thailand or something and finding the scrapped bicycle, which is the brother or similar to Mikey's
Yeah.
bike, because there was two of them that gets mentioned in the Black Dragon arc, I think.
I think
There's a small reference to it.
Yeah.
And even and Mikey and Takamichi are talking about, like, we should go find it one day and whatnot. And like during this whole time also, everyone's being killed, mind you.
Yes, everyone's dying because of this game. Again, this present day we're talking about, everyone of the Tokyo Manji gang and everyone's dying. Everyone's being murdered.
Yeah, everyone's being assassinated and whatnot. Even Kisuke gets assassinated.
Yep. And Mikey's the one doing it. He kills every single one of them.
Mikey's killing everybody and everything, and leads to Takamichi going overseas, finding this bike, and finding Mikey there. Mikey shows up. And they're talking and whatnot. Mikey's just like, you need to stop me, Takamichi. I can't hold myself anymore. And then leads to Takamichi actually pulls a gun on Mikey pulls a gun on Takamichi to kill Takamichi, and Hina's brother shows up and kills
Naoto.
Naoto kills Mikey. And we have that moment of Mikey and Takamichi's arms and whatnot, sort of having this final farewell and whatnot, and sort of like another wrap of what went wrong. Introducing us more to Azana and all this fun stuff. He formed another group, there was a big fight, Tokyo Manjin getting lost, ended up getting taken over, yada yada yada. Then Naoto and Takamichi go back to Japan and to visit. I don't remember were they going to visit Hina or what was going on? I can't quite remember.
Actually, I think for this particular timeline, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm pretty sure this is when they visited a present time Taiju. Because they did visit Taiju in the present, and he wasn't a complete asshole to him.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they went and met Taiju, and as they were leaving, they both get fucking murdered.
Yep.
By Izana and Kisuke right next to him. Kisuke somehow faked his death when he was supposed to have been shot and burned alive in some like wine cellar.
Yep. And like in their dying moments, that's when they like held hands again and allowing him to time jump. But yeah, Naoto and Takamichi both dead as hell in that moment.
And that's when Takamichi comes back to the past again, right before all this stuff, and realizing, like, I only have one shot at this.
Yeah, now
there is no going back and checking.
Yeah, in his mind, Naoto's dead, and because like even when he immediately goes to Naoto as well, the kid Naoto and tries to shake his hand and nothing. So he realizes this is it. I'm stuck here. I have to fix this. Whatever I've got to do to fix this timeline, I have to do it because I can't get back. which adds an extra dynamic of weight to what this arc is, which further makes me like this arc because this arc has so many like huge weightful moments throughout the
Yes.
entire arc, and you know, this immediately kicking off the arc with I'm stuck here. This is it. There is no going back. And then just further diving into, you know, what is setting up to be a very large conflict because, you know, between the Tajuku gang and the Tokyo Manji gang, and Mikey preparing for said conflict, but then behind the scenes, you know, Kisuke is doing his parts to basically take all the top players out of the equation leading up to this. Because it's like, what, Mitsuya gets fucked up. I think Smiley and Angry Smiley gets fucked up.
Smiley gets fucked up. Because, like, it has a nice transition where all the members get fucking murdered in the present timeline, and then we go back to the past, and Kisuke has set up these attacks to slowly take out each one of the captains of all the squads.
Yeah, because Mitsuya and Smiley are the main ones that get, you know, taken out, because also with this arc, you get the betrayal of the 5th captain. I forgot his name. The big, tall, blonde dude. I forgot his name, though. The guy who was supposed to, his role is to basically maintain order in the Tokyo Manji gang, was kind of, he betrayed them. He's not part of the Tokyo Manji gang. So
because he was also a previous member of the Black Dragons. Because Izana ends up gathering up all of the Black Dragons.
Yep. So, like, go ahead.
Including all of the other group heads, like the Hitani brothers, the Fatso guy who never gets another shot again, ever.
Rip.
And then, like, one other group, which I can't remember who they were now that I think about it.
So, like, you know, when it came to their goal of basically picking everyone off, you got to realize where we are right now at the Tokyo Manji gang. You know, with the betrayal of the 5th captain, you know, the 1st captain. At this point, Takamichi is the 1st captain, isn't he? At this point, he was promoted to that. I want to. When did he get 1st captain promotion? Because he got that spot, but it's a matter of when.
Was he 1st captain?
Yeah, because he
was 1st captain.
He got promoted into Baji's spot after a while. I think it might have been after the Black Dragon arc, actually, is when it happened.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was after Black Dragon arc. So yeah, no, he got officially promoted to the 1st squad captain. Yeah.
So like, you got to keep in mind, like, we have a freshly promoted Takamichi in the 1st, Mitsuya 2nd. Is it Smiley that's 3rd?
Smiley's 3rd, yes.
Okay, and then 4th was Pies, right? So he's in prison.
No, Smiley's 4th. 3rd was Pa.
Okay, so Pa's in prison, and then we had the betrayal on the 5th, and then you're right. Yeah, because 3rd is where Kisuke was temporarily the leader.
Yes.
And everyone boycotted that idea. So you got to keep in mind with where we are with the gang is that you have a weakling at 1. Yeah, then you have to take out 2 and 3. 5 betrayed them. They don't have the other spot. You know, other spot's empty. So like in this arc,
it's a great reveal of the 5th one, because the 5th one, it wasn't just an outright betrayal. He actually like kidnaps fucking Takamichi and keeps him in prison and beats the shit out of him.
Beats the absolute hell out of him. Because this was also with Kokonu. Kokonu was also there, right? And you know,
Kokonu and Nue were both there.
Nue was there because this was their split where Kokonu went with Tenjuku, and you know, Uno stayed with Tokyo Manji gang, and you get their backstory of where, you know, Kokonu, his only goal was to try to, you know, why he's so good at money is he wanted to save up money to pay off, you know, it was Inu's debts, you know, who was sick and in the hospital because he was in love with her. There was that was their whole backstory and plot point, you know, which even featured kind of a really random part of that arc where Kokonu kissed Inu, if you remember that. Yeah, very random on that one, but you know.
And also a character we're slightly forgetting is Kakusho actually gets introduced because he's like the second.
Yeah,
he's
Scarhead
like the right hand of Izane, and he's actually the friend of Takamichi.
Yeah, like a childhood friend. Yeah, and that's an important thing to note because like he has a pretty prominent role throughout this arc because he's part of Tenjuku and everything. But even like in the Kanto Manji arc, he has a pretty important role in that arc as well. So that, you know, we had that character introduction, but like basically seeing all the leaders get picked off and stuff. When we made the joke about the B Squad, that's who we got, guys. Like the only because
even Mikey and Draken get taken out for a bit too.
Yes, but like their way of being taken out, that's where this arc gets very interesting to me, is because they know they can't take them out physically. So they took them out emotionally, and that's what happened there. Because in this arc, it was Kisaki ended up killing Emma.
Yeah, because Takamichi comes to the
Mikey's
realization of
sister.
what pushes Mikey over the edge when he has all the support and when it's just like Emma.
Yep.
Emma had to have died. If there's no Emma, Mikey just caves.
Yep.
And Takamichi goes to try and save Emma and everything, gives warning, and he sees Emma just get fucking baseball batted in the hat by a motorcycle with Kisuke on it.
Drive by Kisuke on a bike, nails Enma and is gonna and kills her that way. And Mikey is there and he's carrying her on her back, trying to get her to the hospital and stuff. And she's having basically her last words with Mikey. She's having her last words with Takamichi, asking to basically look after both of them, Draken and Mikey. Because keep in mind, Emma also had her big relationship with Draken. They were a thing. And and then just, oh my god, dude, just the gut-wrenching moment of where Mikey stops and he's like, Takamichi, can you check Emma? Her body just went cold. And he's like, still like, he's got a smile on his face, but it's like a nervous smile, you know what I mean? And it's just a gut-wrenching shot, because following Mikey's journey up to this point, he has lost so much. And he almost lost Draken at one point with the Battle of 8-3. We saw his emotion there. He's now lost his sister. He's lost his older brother. He has lost so much. So like that was a gut-wrenching shot. And even when
he's also lost Pa at this point.
Yes,
one of his closest friends, Baji.
Yep.
Before even Draken. So
yep. They end up still taking her to the hospital regardless, to try to save her. Draken gets there, and Draken's obviously completely lost his cool at Mikey. Mikey's just soulless in that moment. And Draken being obviously very understandably over-emotional about that. And it just puts into perspective when Takamichi's talking to Chifuya, it's like, there's no way that they can do this fight. Like, there's no way that they're going to be able to make it. And that's all part of Tenjuku's plan, is to take out all the superstars. No Mitsuya, no Smiley, no Draken, no Mikey. Mission accomplished. All you got is Takamichi and the vice captains.
Pause and Jill. They got the fifth one to join their side.
So at this point, Tokyo Manji's fucked. Because all you have is, like I said, Takamichi, Chifuya, Angry, Hakai as well. Yeah, that's really it in terms of your main characters that have names that are notable.
Pause second, I can't think of his name.
The guy who's always yelling.
Yes.
With really wide eyes, and very angry.
Who initially fought Takamichi.
Yeah, that guy. I don't remember his name. But like that's your team, boys. Get ready. We have a huge fight on our hands.
A few other members who are just like, what do we do?
Yes.
And it's sort of an interesting thing, because there was an old reference from like early in the I don't remember if it's at the beginning of Black Dragon or the end of Halloween, where there's like a premonition of just like, we'll only follow him. It almost seems like it's referencing Takamichi.
Mm-hmm.
And getting more of a Takamichi stepping up to a leader role of him just like, we got to do this. Like there's no, it's either we all die here or we win.
Yeah. Exactly, because like there's no turning back on it too. With everything that's led up to this point, and leading up to the big fight, it goes exactly as you thought it would go. Everyone's kind of getting their shit wrecked, but they're still fighting. Every of these other vice captains and side characters, they all have nice moments, which is cool. And you have a moment with like Mitsuya and Smiley talking. It's just like, yeah, when Angry like snaps, he's one of the strongest fighters there is. And you get to see that in this fight as well, where Angry snaps and he's just like soulless. And just
he just straight up doesn't care. I'm pretty sure actually murders a couple people.
I'm pretty damn sure he does too. And like this whole fight is all leading up for one thing, which is going to be trying to lead up to Takamichi versus Kisuke is kind of his goal, since Takamichi knows everything that he knows. Izana's there doing his thing as well, and we have some brief like interactions with there. But like one of my favorite things about this arc, and it's something that I was waiting on for so long, because it's like you knew it happened eventually, right? Like you just knew it would. Because at this point with this series, there's only two characters in the past that know about Takamichi's truth, and that being Chifuya, of course, who's his partner, and then also we skipped this out completely. I don't know I think it was in this arc. I think it was the beginning of the Tenjuku arc where Takamichi accidentally reveals to Hina the truth. because he thought
Yeah,
as he was at the
because
slide and he thought it was Naoto, and he was just openly talking his head down, and he realized he was talking to Hina, and that's when Hina is just like, "So how old are you really?" and learns about, and she just accepts it, which
yeah, she just accepts it because it's right after everyone's been taking out. Takamichi doesn't have the
the
confidence
drive,
to lead everyone, right?
yeah,
And another big thing during the fight is actually his relationship with Kakucho, and actually a big face down between Takamichi and Kakucho when we're
yes,
having all the leaders match up.
yeah. And when it comes to the fact that here in this present, the past, of Chifuya and now Hina all being the only ones that know of the time travel, what that leads up to is one of the moments that, like I said, I've been waiting on for a long time, and that was, when is like Draken and Mikey going to be the ones to find out? Specifically Mikey. And we
Mhm.
get that moment, and it was done so well, of where Mikey and Draken are both just still defeated, and they're both defeated in very clearly two different ways, which is understandable. You have, the lover side with Draken, and you have the sibling side with, the family side with Mikey. So they're very broken in two different ways. Mikey just being completely speechless and soulless in a way, broken, and Draken just being angry and just not, can't forgive what just happened, right? So like when Hina tries to go talk to them at the hospital, that's when she drops the bombshell that Takamichi's been trying to save everyone, that we're all gonna die. All of us are gonna die. All of us are gonna have terrible futures. Takamichi's a time traveler. He's trying to save us all. That's why he's been working so hard. And when it comes to that big reveal, Draken's just like, "Oh, what the hell are you talking about?" Blah blah, and whatever. You just have that shot, and I love it because it doesn't continue the conversation for the reader, which is great. That sets up this great moment. This whole interaction, this whole sequence ends with just the look on Mikey's face of the moment of pure realization, where it's like, huh, that it all the dots are connected. Of just him realizing, like, yeah, Takamichi really, that's his drive that he's had throughout this whole time he's known Takamichi.
He
That's
pushes
been
so
his
hard
drive.
every single time.
Yeah, like that moment of Mikey's face from being completely defeated, completely soulless, to just like waking up essentially, where he's just like, fuck. It was a great moment. It was so well done, because then like I said, that ends that sequence, and it brings us back to the main fight, which has another sweet moment for me, and it's actually on my big manga wallpaper on my computer that I made, of where like Takamichi's getting his shit wrecked. He's not afraid. He even had a gun held to his head at one point. Still not afraid. Dude's ready to die on this battlefield, and he's ready, and he will not give up. He's going for like a punch or something. He stops, and he just holds his fist in the air, and he just says something like, "I told you I wouldn't lose." And Mikey and Draken are now here, and everyone's just like, "Oh my god, like his sister just died. What the fuck is he doing here?" And you have that nice interaction between Mikey and Takamichi, of basically just Mikey thanking him for everything that he's done to this point. All of that plot point getting us to here is some of my favorite material in this manga for me personally. I love all of that, of the big revelation to Mikey of the truth, at least for me. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, it is a very great full circle thing. I mean, because just honestly, the Tenjuku arc, a lot at the time thought it was going to be the final arc with all the stuff we were
Definitely
getting and
felt
everything.
like it.
Just because, like, even during the Bayef fight, when it's just B Squad, is like, they're literally getting their shit kicked in,
Yes.
the Tokyo Majin gang. And there's a whole moment where everyone's just like, fuck, we can't do it anymore. Everyone's like, and Takamichi still, and this was probably one of the better fight moments for Takamichi, where he just goes straight berserker and he just starts taking people out.
Yep.
And people are like, is that Takamichi? If you're like, fuck! If Takamichi can do that, fuck, why can't I?
Exactly. Wakes everyone up.
And everyone in the B Squad's like, shit, okay, and starts getting up, and everyone in the Tenchu's like, the fuck's happening? What's going on?
Right.
And then leads to that in the whole Kakucho fight with him, and him punching out Kakucho, and then he actually going up against Izana, and we getting that moment of him lifting the fist up, and the whole trade-off with Draken and Mikey, and Draken starts destroying everyone. Mikey faces off against Izane. I think actually this is like the third time Draken throws down with Hanma, I actually think.
I think so, yeah. Those two have gone at it a lot.
Yes, they do.
Because like throughout this whole arc, like we have all the stuff with Kisaki where you as a reader, like you think that he is potentially the time traveler, or maybe you think Hanma is. Like there's so many questions between those two up into this arc, And like while Mikey's doing his thing with Izana, which Izana does end up dying in this arc, you know, while all that's happening, then you have this arc turn into a completely different plot line, a side plot, side fight of where Mike Takamichi's trying to go after Kisaki and Draken's helping him. You know, he's like, "Get on the bike, we're going." That whole plot, that you have two different things happening at the same time of where Izana dies, you know, in the fight with Mikey and everything, and then you have Takamichi going after Kisaki, which is a whole series of chapters on its own of where, you know, you get the bombshell dropped of where Kisaki asks, "Are you a time leaper?" Which then you as the reader is just like, "Oh God, he does know about. He's a time leaper. Oh my God." And then he ends up not being a time leaper because, like, as he's still chasing him down and stuff, he even is just like, "What you think I'm?" I was like, "I'm not a time leaper," and then he gets hit by a bus.
Well, there's a whole set of reveals thing because
Yeah,
there's
it
a
is.
whole other because this was like 6-7 chapters
Yes.
of them chasing each other down. Like we also get the reveal in this arc finally during this that the whole reason Kisuke's doing this shit is because he he's also well okay so it's a weird thing. He has a weird admiration for Takamichi
Yep.
because we have this whole reveal that when they were kids there was some people bullying. And we've seen this scene before of the old young Takamichi being just very courageous. He just goes up and fights people. It's sort of where Hina fell in love with him. And Kisuke was off on the side, apparently saw this as well, and began to admire Takamichi for his courage and whatnot. And that's where he got his own idea of just like, I need to be this courageous person, have power and whatnot. Because he also at some point fell in love with Hina. And
Has
in
been
the
rejected.
present time, he actually confesses to her, and she's just like, "No, there's someone else I love." Which then Kisuke's rage like and goes in the mode of, "If I can't have you, no one can." And this is why he has Hina killed so many times.
And a couple things about this. Number one, for the anime only viewers that don't care about spoilers and they're just here to listen to us ramble and have a good time, that's why his admiration for Takamichi is why season 1 ended with him half crying, saying goodbye, hero.
Yes.
So there's a little tie up there for you guys. It's going to be a while before you get that tie up. It'll be season 3.
Yeah.
And then also with that whole kid sequence of the hero thing, keep that in mind because we're going to reference it again in about 10 minutes. We got to follow back up with that. But that whole thing that happened in this arc of the big reveal of his motivation, that ruined the character for a lot of people. As these,
It did.
because like he was built as such a genius antagonist, right? Like, and this ruined the character a lot. Did it ruin it? Did it ruin Kisaki for you? Because I'm not gonna lie, it low key ruined it for me. Where it's like, really, this is what we're doing.
It didn't ruin Kisaki, and for me personally, it was just a big thing of the fuck.
Yeah, it's like, really, that's the choice that we went with. Really, come on, man. That was how I felt when I read those chapters personally.
It was almost as bad as the whole fucking, I'm doing this so I can get the sun to the underworld.
Oh yeah, with Dragon Quest.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
Like, really, that's what we're doing? Okay, I guess I'm here for it.
I mean, it's sort of a nod also. It's sort of a plus and a pro con to me because like it's a con of like Kisuke literally did all this just for that, but it's also a plus for like the shit people will do for love.
yeah, exactly. Go to extreme lengths.
Yeah, which eventually finishes with the whole thing of Takamichi chasing down Kisake eventually and just like, can you time travel too? And Kisake just giving me this weird look, was like, I can't time travel. And then we get that moment after of just, and he reveals everything and just coup de grace of wrapping everything up full circle, just what's hit Hina every time and just fucking truck.
Yep, just a truck. Completely obliterates Kisaki. And he even tries to get up for a second and then just dies.
And even Takamichi's like, fuck!
Holy shit.
Because he even runs to him's like, Kisaki?
You good, bro? No, you dead as shit. Which, as a reader, if you really hate Kisaki, which you probably do, you know,
At this point, yeah.
you're meant to. It was very satisfying, where you're like, yeah, fuck this dude.
It was very satisfying.
And it when that happened, you felt almost in a way where it's like, wow, we really are wrapping up the story. I mean, like when Takamichi goes back to the future or the present, like things should be normal. Like that's the vibe that you get. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's like literally wrapping up everything. Like so, the fight finishes. Hazana died.
Yeah.
The Tenju Jaiku group has more or less getting absorbed into Tokyo Majin. Takamichi finds out that Hina told Draken and Mikey about the truth and everything.
Yeah.
They're wrapping everything up. Um, Mikey gets everyone together. He actually straight up disbands the Tokyo Majin gang.
Well, it's important to note before he does that, we have a very nice one chapter of this of where he sits down with Takamichi before the meeting and tells Takamichi to tell him everything. You know,
Yes.
like tell him everything that's happened. You know, Takamichi explains that he apologizes. About what happened with Baji, what happened with Emma. Like he tried and just explains it, and like you see it happening in the chapter, and for the actual reading material for you, it's Takamichi's perspective. He's like Mikey just sat there and just listened, to everything that I had to say. Didn't really butt in, just listened to everything. And that's when Mikey came to the conclusion that the Tokyo Manji game needed to disband. That it was better for everyone if the Tokyo Manji game disbanded. Which does bring us to that point. And then before Takamichi goes to leave, that's when they do the time capsule thing. Like, oh, let's do a time capsule. Oh yeah, it's like
it's all the important characters, and they've all put stuff in a time capsule.
Yeah, and Mikey's like, let's open it. What is Takamichi's time leap? Is it 7 years?
11 years.
11. Okay, it's like let's open it 11 years from now. And Takamichi's like, oh, I see what you're doing. So yeah, he goes back to the present, and it seems like a perfect present. You know what I mean?
He starts visiting everyone. Everyone's doing their thing.
Yeah, and he's getting married to Hina. Because actually, when he comes back was in the middle of, I think, was it Pa's wedding, right?
No, he came back in the middle of getting fitted for his suit.
Oh, that's when he came. I thought it was in the middle of the wedding.
No, he got fitted for. Well, it was actually middle. It was the middle of a wedding of Pa's wedding.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, yeah, he came back in the middle of the wedding because everyone was talking to him like normal, and that's when Hina's just like, "Oh, so you're back," because we had that little moment there. So like,
I forgot. Yeah, he comes back to Pa being married.
Yeah. So like in this,
Pa's out of prison. He got an arranged marriage with some childhood friend. He's taken over his family's. He's made a real estate business with Pei.
Yep. So you get to hear how everyone's doing, where it's like the Smiley and Angry, they have like their ramen shop. Draken's doing his bike shop that he's working on. Mitsuya's doing the designing stuff.
Inue's actually, I think, working for Draken at this time.
Yeah, he's working for Draken. Everyone seems happy, and Takamichi is going to get married to Hina. He's going to get fitted for his suit by Mitsuya, which is awesome. And then, with all this, he asked where Mikey is, and I think it was Chifuya and Draken was just like, oh, he just couldn't make it. He's overseas running, I think it was like a restaurant, I think is what it was, and he just couldn't make it. And Takamichi kind of just left that alone. And then as some time started to pass, he saw some new stuff. He started to piece things together that, okay, they lied to me. Mikey is definitely not doing that. And he asked for the truth, and they just like, we just thought it'd be better if you didn't know. But we haven't heard from Mikey. No, it was he went to Smiley and Angry's ramen shop is what it was, where he was talking to them. It's like, Mikey, we haven't heard from him in 10 years. That's what it was. And then that's when he went to Draken about it. He's just like, yeah, ever since when Toman disbanded 11 years ago, Mikey dropped off the face of the planet. We haven't heard from him since.
And then they all go to the capsule eventually.
Yep. And that brings, everyone's looking through it, having a good time, having nice nostalgia. And that's when Takamichi finds a tape that's addressed to him when he goes to play it. It has like some first part, I think, of Mikey's childhood. And then it has the part where it's Mikey just sitting there, and he's just like, this is addressed to Takamichi 11 years from now. And this is where you get the official introduction. It's already been very clearly there. The official acknowledgement and detailing of the dark impulses. And this becomes a key point, these last couple arcs. Where this savage side of Mikey that you see in Bloody Halloween, where he's ready to kill Kazutoro, and a couple other moments as well. Like, this is the dark impulses, and Mikey goes over it, where it's like, it just controls him. He can't control himself. He doesn't know who he becomes, etc. And he feels like everyone's life will be better if he's out of the picture. And that's what he's done with this future, is he's trying to make sure everyone else has a good future by him not being there. And he ends...
also one thing we forgot to mention. This is all the content of the Bonten arc.
Yes.
Like, as soon as Takamichi jumps to the present, that's the end of the Tenjaiku arc, and then we're now in the Bunten arc.
Yeah.
All this stuff he's discovering in the present.
Yeah, basically, as soon as he gets back to the present, that is officially the Bonton arc. And the Bonton arc is very short. A good arc, though, because of a few key points, but very, very, it's like 20 chapters, but it's an
Yeah,
arc.
it's small.
But anyway, he ends the tape, smiling and saying, please live a happy life. And like that just continues to bother Takamichi, where he's just like, he can't let Mikey go, even though Mikey did all this to give a good future. You know what I mean? Like he does try. Like even when he's at his fitting and stuff, he's and he recruits Kazutoro to try to hunt down information on this new Bonton gang because he saw like a picture of the leader, and because of a tattoo that is on his earrings on the back of the guy's neck, he's like, I'm pretty sure that's Mikey, and he recruits Kazutoro to try to help him hunt down information on him. At one point, Takamichi dismisses it. We'll leave it be. We'll leave it be. But the more
Kazutori even says a great thing after everything. He's just like, Takamichi, we gotta stop. I can't be doing this and wind up getting you killed. Hino's gonna kill me.
Yep. And and Takamichi ends up telling him to stop, because he's just like doing kind of what Mikey, like this is what Mikey wanted, whatever. But the more and more he thinks about Mikey smiling and saying live a happy life, whatever, the more and more Takamichi can't let it go. You know what I mean? He can't let go of the fact that Mikey's not here. And that's when he does his part to try to have a meeting with Mikey and succeeds on that, where he does get to meet with Mikey. And you just, just like as we've seen him in the couple other times we've seen him in this present, very skinny, basically bones, not obviously healthy. You know what I mean? Not healthy at all.
Also, more or less got like a shaved head as well, doesn't he?
No, he's got his black hair.
Okay.
In this one, I think the shaved head one might have been the one where he died in the other country.
Okay. And which we also have a nice little interesting thing of where Mikey told him not to come see him and stuff like that.
Yes.
Where they're in this abandoned bowling alley and Takamichi's sitting in some seats in front of Mikey, and Mikey's chilling on the ones behind him, and Takamichi's is just looking forward the entire time.
Yeah, and while he's sitting there, he holds up a single letter, and Mikey's like, "What's that?" It's like an invitation to my wedding. I want you to be there. And Takamichi goes on his big spill about being his friend, and he's not going to let him go and stuff. And when Takamichi finally stands up to look at Mikey fucking shoots him. Mikey fucking shoots Takamichi 3 fucking times, man.
Like straight up, and that's how that chapter ends. It's just with Mikey shooting the fuck out of Takamichi.
Yep. And
it was just one of those moments like, oh fuck.
Yeah, because keep in mind, while this is happening, you get to see some members of the Bonton gang, which is going to feature like Kokonu and Sanzu and stuff like that. And Sanzu was there.
Yeah, Sanzu was in the bowling alley.
And Mikey told him to dip out. We'll talk privately, which that's important to note because like after he shot Takamichi and Takamichi's bleeding out and stuff, Mikey's now going to go kill himself. Yeah, he goes standing at the side of the building, and you have a very nice dynamic shot of present Mikey looking at all, over at all these people looking at him like, oh my God, that's a kid up there about to jump off and kill himself.
Yeah, because Mikey climbs to the roof.
Yep. And then you see the next shot of where it's Tokyo Manji past Mikey, and you see all the Tokyo Manji gang where he's like looking out of him, and you see Sanzu getting a fucking snack. And he's like, yo, Mikey, what the fuck? Because he wasn't there at the time, and Mikey's just like, all right, everyone, let's do it. And he goes to jump off the side of the building to kill himself, and even though he's bleeding out, Takamichi grabs him and saves him. And I want
before you do this, I want to be like, Takamichi has fucking 3 bullet wounds in his chest, and he fucking comes out of nowhere to stop a Mikey falling from a roof, just dead stop on broken fucking glass window.
Yes. Because like as Mikey's starting to fall, Takamichi managed to run and jump out, hang out the window and catch him. Which when it comes to this particular chapter, bro, when it came out, I read this chapter probably 30 times in that week waiting for the next chapter. This was hands down one of the top 5 best chapters in Tokyo Revengers to me. This was a hands down.
It's a good chapter. If the 2 of them were together, that'd be a fucking fantastic.
Yes, because like he's sitting there holding Mikey, and Mikey is still in the mode of like, let me fall, let me end this. I want this to end, blah, blah, blah. And, it's funny because it's like, when your parents call you by your full name, you're in fucking trouble. That's what happened here. Takamichi called Mikey by his full name. It's like, sorry, he's in trouble right now. Where he's just like, you always take on everything yourself. You always take on the full burden yourself. It's just like, just ask for help once. and I will definitely come and save you. And then just the transition shots of the panels of Mikey looking up and Mikey starting to cry and says, "Please help me, Takamichi." Dude, that is such an incredible fucking moment in that manga. Still a top 5 chapter for me to this day. I love that fucking moment.
And with that and the tears, it switches
go.
because even during this Fontaine stuff, Takamichi actually does check with Naoto
Yeah, that's right.
to see
Yeah, we
if
missed
the
that.
leaps happens, and they shake hands. Nothing happens.
Yeah, and Nato's just
Takamichi-
like, I guess it's because I don't have motivation for it. You know, I had motivation before. I don't have motivation for this.
Yeah, Hina's alive and whatnot. And then it's during this time when there's crying, when Takamichi's just like, finally says that, the switch happens, and it's now with Mikey.
Yeah, Mikey's the new trigger.
How he switches.
Yep.
In which he goes back into the past again, and it's actually shorter this time. I think this time it is actually only 7 years because he's in high school now.
Yeah, he's in high school, unlike before when he was in middle school, whatever.
Yes. So it shortens it from 11 years to 7 years, and starts the 3 deities arc.
Yep.
And before we actually get this full transition, we also do get 2 other side chapters of one, Hanma visiting Kisuke's grave, and more or less having a moment and saying like, it's finally coming to an end, and everything like, I'm gonna do the rest now for you. Almost making it seem like Hanma's a time traveler still, so we still have this subplot of there's another fucking time traveler somewhere.
And you still don't know who the fuck it is, and you think it's Hanma now, like he's gone. Like there's so many questions.
And then we also get the Sanzu chapter where he was actually the second of the captain of the 5th squad who got arrested at the end of the Kanto incident for, I think he's the one who actually killed Izana, isn't he?
I think so.
He killed somebody and he got arrested for it, and he getting out several years later, and they go to the harbor, and Sanzu straight up murders dude for betraying the Majin gang. He's just like, the only thing for a traitor is death. Straight up murders him.
Yes.
Revealing taking off his mask and showing the scars and whatnot, which I think that actually happens before the whole present stuff. Doesn't it? Yay, nay?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so
Are you talking about the
before
scars?
talk about Sanzu.
I think that's the first time for scar reveal.
Okay, yeah.
Because he's always just worn a mask up to that point.
Okay.
And then in this arc, you find out why he got the scars, how he got it.
Yeah.
Which we'll dive
And
into
him
that
and
here
just
soon.
showing that he's super loyal to Mikey, even though he followed dude. Otherwise, I don't. More or less, he shows just how dedicated he is to Mikey's cause in the group. That he straight up murders dude.
Yeah.
And then leads into the past stuff, and Takamichi waking up's like, what year is it? Seeing that year, so like, I'm in high school.
Yep. And he goes to immediately find Chifuya, and Chifuyu's like, "Oh, what's up, Takamichi?" And Takamichi's just like, "Hey, Chifuya, I'm back," or whatever he says. And Chifuyu's like, "Wait a minute, are you Takamichi from the future? Why are you back?"
Chifuya's like, what do you mean you're back? We saw each other yesterday. He's like, I'm back. Mikey? Or Takamichi?
Yeah, and also one thing to also note about this, which never got fully answered, but I only assume it's because Mikey is like older and I guess can more mentally develop to realize this. But when Takamichi got back, you see Mikey with his new gang, and he looks at his hand. He said, "So you've returned, Takamichi." You know, since he's the trigger, he knew Takamichi from the future got there, and that never got really addressed. But I guess the best way to decipher that between Naoto and Takamichi is Naoto being a kid just never knew. He wasn't mentally developed enough to realize that. But I guess that never got addressed how Mikey knew. But I guess it's because again he's older, so he's more I guess realizing of what just happened. That he realizes Takamichi time leaped, and it was because of Mikey. But it never got addressed if Mikey knew what happened before he leaped. Like that never got addressed. But there was that tease there of Mikey's like, "So you've returned." It's just like, okay, that's the only time we're gonna reference that. So it's never getting picked back up again. And then once he gets back to the the past, then it's just kind of like getting his footing, figuring out what the fuck's going on. Because also with this, he's trapped in this past because his trigger is Mikey. So he's trapped in this past.
And he's dead in the future going forward, so...
Exactly. So he's trapped here. Got to figure it out again.
Once again, he's got it's do or die.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's just kind of figuring out his footing, what's going on. You know, where's Draken, where's Mitsuya, and you figure that out. Mostly focusing on Draken at first because
Yeah.
that's where you find out Draken is part of like a new gang and stuff. There's some other little tidbits of that before figuring that out. And the leader of this new gang is now one of the three deities, which is Sinju.
Sinju!
Yeah, Sinju. Let's go on a date.
Our first female leader who
Yep.
throws hands.
Yep. Leader of whatever gang they were part of. I forgot the name. I
I don't
grab it.
remember because you
It
also
don't
don't
matter.
got the name of the other leader.
Yeah, well, he is also kind of, in my opinion, he becomes irrelevant very quickly.
I mean, he does, but he's part of the three deities.
Yeah, you have
Because the
you have
three
Mikey,
deities are
Sinju,
Mikey,
and this other guy.
Sinju, and then fucking bodybuilder.
Yeah. Which, honestly, a lot of this arc is a lot of, Sinju's gang wants to also take down Mikey's gang. That's kind of why
Yes.
Draken's part of it is he wants to beat the fuck out of Mikey to bring him back. Like that's essentially Draken's motivation is to knock some fucking sense into him. And there's a lot of kind of build up leading to that three deity showdown with the most notable thing happening involving Draken. Where at this point, Draken dies saving Takamichi from like another beatdown that I think happened is what it was. I think Draken.
Because the weird thing also with this is like Takamichi has a name now.
Yes.
Because the Kanto incident led to Takamichi getting a big name for so all the delinquents actually know who Takamichi is.
Yeah, when that chapter came out, when he was going down the stairs, whatever, me and you, I remember we talked about that. I think I made it like a short or a preview of the episode. Shout out to the time we used to put previews on our episodes, where it's just like, damn, look at Takamichi, man. He's all grown. He's got a name for himself. Look at him go.
Yeah, whenever he... Yeah, because when Draken introduces him to Sinju in the group and everything, and he goes to their like secret fighting arena or whatever,
Yep.
and he walks down, he's like, "That's Takamichi. He's the leader of
the hero of the Kanto incident or whatever it was."
And all this weird shit.
Hey, he's got a name for himself now. Shout out to Takamichi. About damn time. He still can't fight worth a shit, but at least he's got a name for himself.
People show respect for him. None of them have actually seen him fight and don't realize that he can't fight for shit, but they knew he was the hero.
Exactly. Well, so yeah, Draken does die in this arc. And also with this, it was very visually compelling and well done because you get some nice other side shots of where you see Kokono working with Mikey. Again, he's the treasurer or whatever for that gang. And Mikey looking out a window where it's pouring, he said, "I have a feeling something's going to happen tonight." Or, just like he did with the Silent Night stuff, right? And that's where you end up getting Draken dying, sacrificing himself to help save Takamichi. And, telling Takamichi, like, hey, don't, beat yourself up out and stuff. And you have a nice little shot of Draken basically seeing Emma again and kind of passing on, getting to be with Emma in the afterlife, which is a really nice thing, but also very heart-wrenching at the moment. But when all this is happening, one thing that does happen as well, where it happens and doesn't really get referenced too much again until the end of the Kanto Manji arc, where it's like Takamichi saw this coming. You got the first tease of where he can like see the future now too.
Because here's the thing, because like when he was with Senju, they shook hands or something, and suddenly he gained premonition powers, and he actually saw Senju dying.
Yes.
During this, because this happens during Senju and Takamichi's date, where she more or less forces him to go to a carnival or whatnot with him.
Let's go on a date.
He's been waiting for this, and he knows it's going to happen because he saw it, and he's like, "What?" And then he also got some other random premonition of him getting like hit in the face and whatnot.
Yep.
And it happens with like seconds. He's like, and that's sort of his trigger to realize, oh, bad shit's gonna happen. I'm seeing the future somehow since I've lost my ability to jump to the present.
Right.
So he's been sticking with Senju, waiting for this whole thing, and shit goes down, and like, the guys show up and they shoot at him, and he jumps in the front of the way of Senju, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm okay. Nothing happened." And that's the reveal of like Draken gets in the way. Because I don't remember exactly how it happened. Because like it happened at first and it failed, and then they were running and whatnot, and then Draken showed up, and then he got shot.
Yeah.
And sort of, and this series has a lot of full circle things because it sort of does a whole full circle of Dragon even going like, because it makes a reference to Takamichi saving him and him now using his life that he saved to save Takamichi. It's like a slight reference.
Yeah.
Which leads to all-out war because that guy who killed Draken was part of the third group or whatnot. And it leads to the final showdown of the three deities of Sanzu or Senju and the other dude, bodybuilder. They start fighting it out. Then in the middle of it, Mikey's crew shows up and starts fighting.
Yeah, the big showdown of the three deities, essentially.
Yes, which happens literally like 2 days after Dragon's death.
Yeah.
Or no, it's like a single day because like Senju immediately goes into warpath mode.
Yeah, basically ready to just fucking throw down and get this fucking done. Take care of fucking business, essentially, is what she's here to do.
Yeah. In which it shows off Senju, she's super strong. It shows off that her brother was the second in command of the original Black Dragon's first generation because her two lieutenants are members from the first generation.
Yep.
Who she hung out with. Introduced bodybuilder dude he's just super strong. That's literally his thing. That's
his entire role, yeah.
Literally, like, his whole thing is like he's super strong and he just doesn't go down. Regardless, the fiercer the fight, the more pumped up he gets.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole showdown with that, and Takamichi ends up getting another vision of the bodybuilder dude more or less getting killed
by Mikey
and whatnot,
yep.
Which leads him to pushing his way through all this fun stuff. Because Mikey eventually jumps in. He just starts ending people.
Yep. Mikey finally just like, all right, I'm going to go.
He ends the two lieutenants, ends Senju, reaches dude, and just starts beating the fuck out of him. Which leads to Takamichi jumping in the way, and Mikey just straight up, move Takamichi. It's like, no, I can't let you do it. And then Mikey's in full Dark Impulse and starts beating the ever-loving shit out of Takamichi.
Yep. Which, what makes him stop? What makes this fight stop? I don't remember.
I honestly don't remember either.
Because this fight just resolves where Mikey and the gang just leaves, but I don't remember what it was.
I don't remember if it was Senju or somebody else, but someone eventually...
It might have been Senju. Senju may have ended it, but not by physically ending it, but like begging it to be ended or something.
Yes, because Mikey was straight up going to kill Takamichi.
Yes, I think Senju did end it. I don't remember how, but she did. Which then left, Mikey with like last words to Takamichi to basically tell him to piss off, essentially.
Yeah.
And once that fight was done and resolved, and now everyone's picking up the aftermath of it, this is when you finally get the backstory for those dark impulses, which...
Yeah.
Kind of lackluster, I gotta say. It kind of ruined a little bit of this whole darkness side of Mikey to me personally. I was just like, really?
Well, at the time,
really?
the only reveal we get at this time is the whole thing of like something happened. Like the plane was broken and suddenly
the toy plane was because Senju said that she was the reason for the dark impulses because she broke the plane. Sanzu took the fall for it, where Mikey beat the fuck out of Sanzu, and Mikey's the one that gave him the scars and told him to smile. Like a Joker thing.
Yes, and gave him the scars.
So basically, Mikey got his dark impulses because his toy plane got broke. That's how it was perceived at that time.
Yes.
Which, very lackluster at that time, and carried for a while. That was what happened.
Made no sense.
Just a kid being angry at his toys being broke is essentially why Mikey is the way that he is. And it's just like, really?
It sort of sparked the initial dark impulses.
Yeah, not a fan. I was not a fan of how that direction was taken. I feel like that was very stupid.
It was what it was. Which then leads to the start of the Kanto Manjin incident, or arc.
Yeah, which is just basically Takamichi rebuilding the gang himself as the new leader.
Yeah, which Mikey more or less takes over. The 3D just wins, Mikey straight up wins, and all the other two groups just symbol and whatnot. And then it's Mikey trying to look the aftermath because it straight up is just initially him with Chifuya and Chifuya like, "Why'd you come back, Takamichi?
Yeah,
We were all living our lives and
they had a
whatnot
nice
and
spat.
shit,
Yeah,
and now Draken's dead."
it's like this is like yeah, it wasn't like a 2 chapter little fight between them where it
Yeah.
was them trying to them which I feel like Shifuya was valid on that. It's like
Oh, yeah.
everyone else was good except for Mikey. He's like, why did you come back? Now Draken's dead because of this. So like I get where he's coming from on that. You know, I'm not saying leave a man behind. I'm not saying that, but I understand from an outsider looking. I get what he means. Like you came back and you fucked it up. Which also ties into the entire plot of the story where Takamichi constantly failed.
Yeah. And which ends up with a whole thing of them having this conversation and Takamichi more or less telling Chifuya like, I couldn't leave Mikey. Like there was no future for me if Mikey was still miserable.
Yep.
And Chifuya just finally resigning and it's just like, all right, partner.
All right, I'm with you. Let's do it.
And
Which
they
still
start
goes
rebuilding.
back to just like the best bromance of that damn show, man.
So Chifuya joins up with him, and Nui ends up joining on. Because I still don't really understand why, but something happens where Nui's just like, Takamichi's the one I'm gonna follow.
Yep.
He's the one who I see at the end of all this.
Right.
He just has this full trust in Takamichi, because like Takamichi asks him, he's like, done.
Got you. Don't worry about it. Taken care of, boss.
Then Hakai joins, for whatever reason, and then we have the whole nice little thing with Mitsuya, which was a nice little moment.
Yeah,
with it.
and me and you were very conflicted with those chapters where we were just like, "Come on, Takamichi, don't ask him to join the gang." Me and you were very on that boat of like, let Mitsuya, leave him alone.
Because out of everyone, Mitsuya was still actually having a success. He was already putting in this big fashion competition and whatnot,
Yeah.
and all this fun stuff, and like he had his future going. And even Takamichi was just like, "Well, I can't ask him to do that."
Yeah.
But something happens. I don't know if it got mentioned to him or whatnot because
they openly talked to him about it. It's just they weren't going to ask him to join.
And Mitsuya's more like, "I can't answer now."
Yeah, and they go to that fashion show in support of Mitsuya as well. And wasn't it like the outfit that he designed was like what?
It was a double. It was like twin dragons.
Yes.
Flying and whatnot. Because it was a black and a white one.
Yeah, you get the backstory of the dragon tattoos, which for up until this point, seeing Mitsuya, you don't know he's got a dragon tattoo because at this point, every time you've seen him, he's had his hair grown out where it covers the tattoo.
Because there was a fight because Draken and Mitsuya got the same tattoo.
Yes.
And they fight about it, which leads to Draken winning.
Yes, and making them the twin dragons of the Tokyo Manji.
And all that fun stuff, and which leads to this fashion show. Mitsuya does his commission and whatnot, and he actually wins the fashion show.
Yeah, but then doesn't he like turn it down or whatever because he has to go?
Yeah, after getting the announcement, he walks on stage with his head shaved and Draken style, showing off the tattoo and full Tokyo Majin gear, and just like, I'm going to turn down this award, and everyone just being very shocked. He's like, delinquent outfit, yada yada yada, and he's like, I'm putting in my official, I'm joining Takamichi.
Yeah, exactly. That was such a great moment because it was a mix of two things. It was a mix of one, he focused on this competition. He gave a huge nod to basically his brother in a way, right? And he won the competition in the sense and turned down the award, which was him just simply acknowledging, I just wanted to see if I could do it. I wanted to see if I could win. And then the other part of it that was so great of him just being like, Takamichi, I fucking got your back. Let's go fuck some shit up. Which was like those two themes of these chapters was awesome to me. I loved it.
And then it was also a great moment of them going, thank God Mitsuya's here. We don't have to use Chifuya's uniform.
Yeah, because Chifuya's uniform was so bad. Chifuya was like, oh, it looks so good,
like
right?
A shittily John Bear or something like that.
Yeah, it was so bad. And like no one had the heart to tell him how bad it was until Chifuya's just like, this is terrible.
Yeah, Mitsuya's like, what is this shit?
This is terrible. Chifuya's like, what do you mean? It's great. Everyone said you guys liked it, right? And everyone's like, it's like, what? You didn't like it? So after this, it kind of really starts to get moving pretty quickly because we get the gang back together and it's gearing up for the showdown.
Pa and Pei, angry, smiley, even managed to get Senju part of it.
Senju's part of the Tokyo Manji, yeah.
And then it reveals that the two Black Dragon dudes actually end up joining Mikey.
Yeah.
Following Mikey. We get Hakai back. And it's more or less all the main characters that haven't already joined Mikey show back up.
Yeah, and then leads up for the big final showdown, which takes up a good, 30-ish chapters maybe?
Yeah, it takes a while at the train yard.
Yeah, the big showdown between the new Tokyo Manji gang and Mikey's gang.
I do like the choice for all the final fights. So we had the initial parking lot.
Yep.
Then we had the junkyard.
Yep. The church.
The church.
The boat yard.
A freaking harbor.
Yeah, harbor. Yep.
And then a train yard.
Yeah.
Well, no, I take that back. Before that was just a random fucking intersection in the rain.
That is true. They know where to pick their fights.
And then the train yard.
Yeah. They know where to pick their fights, dude. Overall, when it came to this big final fight, there were so many things to take away from it. Where in this arc, you get once again another character dropping the time leaper bomb, being Sanzu. You get the team up of Kakachu, the Scarhead dude, who is now with the Mikey's gang. You know, he's once again against Takamichi, who are going against each other. You get their team up, try to stop Sanzu, who's ready to murder everyone with a train. You get, Pa going up against Mikey, getting his shit wrecked. There are so many things happening in this arc, in this fight.
Yeah, before even all that, though, there's an initial fight of just I forget who goes up against him, but the Hitani brothers go up against Mitsuya and Hakai, don't they? In this one again? Because the Hitani brothers make a return again.
Yeah, they do.
And they have their whole show off. Chifuya... Who teamed up with Chifuya against the two Black Dragon guys?
Wasn't Mitsuya, was it?
Maybe it was Mitsuya. No, because Mitsuya was with Hakai, because they started taking down Hakai to pull Mitsuya off. I don't remember who fights with the Black Dragons, because Senju initially tries to fight him, she gets her shit tossed.
Yeah. Also, really random. Let's not forget that Takamichi's friends are also in this as well.
That's who it is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Was it Takamichi's friends, Akun and all them?
It's Shifuya and Akun that team up to go up against the two Black Generation. Yes.
What a tag team, man! What a tag team.
Yeah, because those four show up to the meeting. It's like, we got you, Takamichi.
We got you back, bro.
Always.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Shout out to them.
And at some point,
Legends.
those four actually become some slightly decent fighters during all this bullshit.
They learned something over time, I guess.
Yeah, because Akun gets his shit tossed.
Yeah.
But he does the Takamichi thing of just I can't give up. I gotta stand back up.
Yep.
But yeah, all this is going on. Everyone's trying to get to Mikey because Mikey's just chilling on a train car at the king of the castle.
Just vibing. And that's when Pa comes up, just I want to bring you down to the rest of us and get your shit wrecked. He tries though.
Yeah, and during all this fighting, Takamichi randomly touches a train rail and he just sees a train taking out everybody.
Once again, seeing the future, yeah.
Yeah, killing everyone's what's going on? And he looks down the train yard and he's like, Kakachu, we gotta stop Sanzu. And he was like, what? And Takamichi just starts running and Kakachu follows him and they find Sanzu trying to start a train to run it through everybody.
Which Kakachu ends up giving up his own life to try to stop it too.
Yeah, Kakachu does.
Yeah, he dies here.
Yeah, which is a whole big thing because they get on the train and push Sanzu away and trying to stop it, and Takamichi gets a premonition of him getting cut, dodges out of the way, and Sanzu's just like, how the fuck did you see that?
Yeah, because it was a katana, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a straight up katana.
Yeah, that's right. That's where the katana came from.
Yeah, which leads to them fighting, and Takamichi falls out, and Kakachu gets straight up stabbed through the stomach by Sanzu and kicks Sanzu off, but manages to stop the train.
Yep.
and we get a nice moment of Takamichi crying over Kakucho and just like, "You're always the crybaby hero,"
Yeah.
and dies. And then fucking this reveal, Sanzu gets back up and he's about to fucking kill
Here we go.
Takamichi with something else, and out of fucking nowhere, Taiju, the 10th generation Black Dragon
Let's
Leader,
go.
runs a motor straight into Sanzu, ramming him up against the train.
No way that guy's alive, but he lived. Like, what the fuck? There's
Yeah,
no
both of them,
way.
They were like, he's fucking dead.
Like, he got a fucking bike to the chest. And also, before that, keep in mind, we did have the bombshell drop of, are you a time leaper too? Two being the key word where it's like, is this the fucking guy? Is this the guy?
Yeah, by Sanzu.
Oh my God, man. Plot thickens. Because then it was dropped after that, because that's when Taiju came in and fucking put a motorcycle with a wheel right into his chest. No way he's alive, but he lives. Like, what the fuck?
And him just being like, get up, Takamichi. You're the only one I'm following right this moment.
Yeah, he's like, the fifth division Tokomanji captain's here. It's like, oh God, here we go. It's like, I'll pave you away to Mikey. I got you.
We have a nice moment of where Mitsuyu just happens to find Taiju, just like, we're fighting him tomorrow. It'd be great if you showed up, and just leaves a jacket for him and walks off. And Taiju's just looking on the depths of the river. And then next thing, it's just him on the bike just saying, the 5th captain's here.
Yeah, which was such a cool ass moment, honestly.
It was a moment because at this point, you have completely forgotten about Taiju.
Yep.
His whole thing happened and whatnot. I didn't ever expect him to come back.
Yep.
And leads to him just being a fucking wrecking machine.
Yep.
To Mikey, because at this point, Pod did get Mikey off the top of that train.
He did.
And all the other fights have wrapped up. Everyone who still can walk goes up against Mikey, and Mikey just throws everyone on the fucking ground.
Everyone gets fucked. Mitsuya, Smiley, Angry, I think, Chifuya,
Senju.
Everyone gets blown away, which now leads us to the final battle of Tokyo Revengers. Mikey
versus Taiju and Takamichi.
Yep. Which, in this fight is where we further get the more premonition stuff of where Takamichi starts managing to dodge Mikey's kicks. And everyone's just like, did he really dodge his kicks? What is this, Takamichi? What?
And Mikey's like, he's moving before I even act.
Yeah, it's like, how the hell is he doing this? And even Takamichi landing a punch. He's landing punches on Mikey. Like, everyone's just like, what? Is this Takamichi that we're looking at right now? All because he can see the future. Just a few seconds. That's all he needs.
And also during all this shit, also gets the weird reveal during this fight of Shinichiro.
Oh my God. Here we fucking go. This is where shit got wild the last 10 chapters.
Shinichiro, Mikey's older brother, was the time traveler.
Yep. The big plot twist. Where it's just like, is it Kisaki? Is it Hanma? Is it now Sanzu? There's so many questions. Nope. It was Shinichiro. Mikey's older brother who's been long dead. Yeah,
because Sanzu leads off a hint of like, it wasn't supposed to be like this. And that the path we're on is because of a future made by Shinichiro. Because Shinichiro was the original time traveler, reveals that he did in fact take over Japan's gangs at one point. Because it's always revealed up to this point that he just suddenly cut it. He just suddenly entered the Black Dragons for some reason.
Yep.
But in the original timeline,
here we go, boys.
Shinichiro and the Black Dragons did actually take over all the Japan's gangs.
Yep.
Only for him to reveal that when he got back, he gets a call from his grandfather, who's just like, "It's bad. Mikey's bad." And just this plane that he had bought, they were fighting over and whatnot, and it led to Mikey falling down some stairs, hitting his head, and just straight vegetable.
Yep. What a plot twist. What a plot twist.
Mikey was originally just a vegetable and all this fun stuff. And more or less Shinichiro gave up his life and wanted to take care of Mikey and all this fun stuff, and just take care of Mikey until Mikey's body just eventually died.
Yep.
And everyone's just like, you need to stop everything like this. But he couldn't give up his younger brother and all this stuff.
He hears a rumor of an old guy talking about time travel.
Yeah, because like it ends up because like Emma straight up leaves and does her own thing. Like
Yep.
she becomes like sort of a delinquent herself and
Yep.
ends up fucking off and going somewhere. Sanzu's the only one who sticks with Shin and Shiro and thinks that once Mikey's dead, things would go back to normal. It doesn't. And then
They were like out for like Shinshiro was like out for dinner, I think, or something.
yeah, he was at like some random bar and he hears someone like, "There's some crazy old guy under the bridge who's talking about being a time traveler or some shit."
Yep. And Shinshiro, just being in such a desperate state, wanting his little brother back, actually goes and talks to him and tries to get information. He's just like, I think didn't the old man just flat out say you're gonna have to kill me for it or something?
Yeah,
Or,
no, like to get you have to kill me.
and Shinshiro
And
just no thoughts about it, just starts beating the
he picks
fuck
up a
out of
pipe
him
and
and
kills
murders
this old
him.
man.
Yeah, and then
And
nothing
then nothing
happens.
happens, and he's just like, "What the fuck did I do this for?"
I just murdered a guy for nothing. Great. It's like some random old hobo. Let's make that known
Yeah.
here. It's just an old hobo talking about how he can time travel, how he was given this gift and everything. And
And then he,
go ahead.
after he kills the guy, and one the dude's guy was just spouting off shit, and Shinichiro just being desperate goes and kills him, and nothing happens. He goes to see Sanzu, tells Sanzu about it, and don't remember if they like end up just touching hands or something or whatnot.
I think so.
And then he time leaps.
Well, no, he goes to kill himself, but he tells Sanzu about it, but he's standing on the
right.
bridge and he's gonna go kill himself when that's when Sanzu comes up and tries to
And
stop him.
saves him because like he falls off and Sanzu grabs him by the hand and he leaps. And he's just like, "What day is it?" and everything like that. And that's when we get the memory of just randomly Shinichiro coming and just destroying the plane,
Yep.
destroying the model plane.
He successfully prevents he successfully prevents Mikey from falling and basically becoming a vegetable. And he prevents like this happening and this happen. But then where everything went wrong is this time traveler version of Shinshiro sees he's there when the dark impulses are created. And after Mikey is saved and alive, is he witnesses the Sanzu moment of where the plane is broken and he witnesses the impulses made and where everything starts to change with Mikey. And then when it comes to wrapping up Shinshiro's arc, here we go. Back to the random thing that we haven't had in like 100 chapters of where apparently Shinshiro met Takemichi at that moment when Takemichi was playing hero, where Kisaki witnessed all this happen, where Kisaki, got this admiration for Takemichi. The expanded version of that scene is Shinshiro was there, told all the kids to piss off, and that's when he started thinking about like, the stuff that the old man said, and when he shook hands with Takemichi at that moment when Takemichi was a kid playing hero, essentially passing on the time leaping powers to him. And then further remembers like the old man where it's like, something about death along those lines. And that's when, Shinshiro was accidentally murdered by Katsutoro.
Yeah, because he goes back to the spot where he kills the old man, which just happens to be near his shop for some reason.
Yep.
And he's just like, all this shit. And he just happens to hear some noise in his shop. And he looks through a hole and he's like, "Is that robbers?"
Yep.
And it's Baji and Kazutora.
Yeah, from all the way back at Bloody Halloween.
Yeah, which leads to Shinichiro's death, all these events, yada yada yada, and leads to
back to the present where Mikey's the one explaining all this to Takemichi. So it's just like all three of our fates have just been intertwined essentially.
Yes, and then Mikey gets a katana somehow.
Yep. They continue their fight, Takemichi and Mikey, where Takemichi basically tells Mikey to fully unleash his dark impulses on him. That Takemichi's the only one that can take it. Kind of similar like a Naruto Sasuke sort of vibe. That's the vibe you got here. And at that moment, you just see like Mikey's vision get completely engulfed. And like you said, Mikey ends up getting katana, and in this fight, ends up stabbing Takemichi straight to the stomach. And Takemichi, instead of doing something about it, he just hugs Mikey and tells him that he'll always be his friend. And then that you see a POV of Mikey of his vision getting cleared of the dark impulses and just saying friend, and then coming to and realizing what just happened of Takemichi in his arms with a sword through his fucking stomach, and Takemichi dying from bleeding out essentially, which then brings us to
this weird bullshit of where Takemichi is dying in Mikey's arms and Mikey's crying. He happens to grab Takemichi's hand and we time leap again.
and I want the record to be known for anyone listening that has not read Tokyo Avengers and just don't care about spoilers. Everything that we just explained to you with the brother plot line and this now new time leap is no shit like the last 5 chapters. Like,
Yes.
it's quick. It's so quick. This is the last 5 fucking chapters.
So time leap again, and we're back in Takamichi time, and he wakes up. He's like 8 years old.
Yeah, he's like 10. It's like
He's
I'm a
in
little
fucking
kid.
elementary school, and he's just like, I'm alive? What's going on?
I'm a kid? I time leaped? What?
What's happening? And he runs to fucking Mikey's house.
Yep. Which then meets Baji, who's like, hey, who are you? And punches him in the face.
Yeah, like, who are you? What are you doing in front of Mikey's house? Whack!
It's like Jack from Week Hero. This chapter's Week Hero.
Yes.
Bumps into Go-Go. He's like, just quick punch. Same thing, man. Baji doesn't even wait for an answer. He's just like, who are you? Punch.
Takamichi's just like, Baji! He's like, do I know you? He's
Yeah.
like, Baji! And slowly just everyone shows up. Kazutora shows up.
Emma shows up.
Draken
Shinshiro
shows up.
It's like
Emma, Enichiro, and then Mikey. And Takamichi's like, Mikey? And Takamichi just looks at him and goes, well, I go, Takamichi?
it's like, and then Takamichi's like, wait, you know me? And then it comes to this. This is the second to last chapter now of where they realize they both time leaped. They start running away. It's like, oh, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. You know, it's like you were in my arms, you know, dying, and all I was hoping for is that you were to live and whatever. And it's just like they got to like the top of it. It's like, this is where we start our revenge.
Yeah, this is where we start our revenge. And then it just does a fucking montage of them, all the events that have happened, them just doing the fucking perfect run of it since Takamichi and Mikey both have memories. Takamichi wasn't strong enough to do all this shit, so he kept failing. But now he's got the cheat code of Mikey,
Yep.
and Mikey's just like, let's slap some bitches.
Yeah. So like again, second to last chapter of this fucking series, chapter 277. It's like going through of them kids. Our revenge starts now. Montage of the entire plot, but the best run possible. All for like we
straight
did it.
up, like them reforming the Tokyo Majin Gang. Like Takamichi becomes a part of their group. Mikey just welcomes him in. He's in
Kisaki
the
even
initial
joins.
founders.
Takamichi brings Kisaki, so Kisaki doesn't go down a dark path.
Yeah. So Kisaki starts from the beginning. The whole shit with so with that, Hanma gets joined in. So Bloody Halloween never happens in this timeline. Fucking
Really, none
Battle
of
of
it
8-3
does.
never happens.
Yeah, none of it really does.
They recruit the Black Dragons. They like go fucking kick in the Black Dragons. So Taiju,
Let's
Hakai,
go.
y'all are all with us now. Get in this shit.
Yeah, basically, let's go.
More or less, they've just round up everyone and just go across Japan. Anyone who doesn't agree, punch, 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 kick, kick, kick. You're now part of us.
Yeah. And then
Punch, 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 kick, kick, kick.
And it brings us to like, all right, we did it. We have completely ruled this era. And it's going through everyone in the Tokyo Manji, literally everyone. So also with this best ending, some like little other events didn't happen. Like Mikey getting those dark impulses never happened. So like Sanji doesn't have the scars on his mouth. And it's just going through a roll of everyone. Pai doesn't go to prison. The dude from the fifth, whatever, doesn't betray them. Everything, it's like Taiju's part of it. You know, this guy's part of it. Shinju's
All the
part of it.
leaders from all the other
Everyone.
groups are now also part of them.
It's like, all right, Toman's disbanded.
Yeah, we got everything. Toman's Big Bandit. Yeah.
Because like also before that, there was like that scene of where it's like, we did it. Yeah, it's over. And Mikey and Takamichi are crying up on the building, whatever. And that's 277, folks. Then it brings us to the final chapter, 278, where we're back in the present. And it's just one big in your face of how everyone's doing. That's all it was. Everyone's doing great. It's a perfect ending for everyone. Everyone's alive. Kazutora didn't go to prison. Baji's not dead. Emma's not dead. No one's dead. It's a perfect happy ending, like something you'd see out of fairy tale.
One nice touch about it I did like about this final chapter is that it was all from Chifuya's perspective.
It was, yeah.
So Chifuya seeing everyone having their happy endings and whatnot.
Yep.
Regardless of what happy ending, Pa and Pei always end up making a fucking real estate agency.
Angry and Smiley getting the ramen shop no matter what. That's their thing.
Yeah.
You know, Draken running in the
ends up
bike
becoming
shop.
a pro motorcycle racer, and Draken's his pit manager.
Yep. With
And somehow,
Inu
for
as
whatever
well.
reason, Inoue always ends up working for Draken.
Yep. And then Kisaki and Kokono are Mikey's managers.
Yeah.
Because in this chapter, they were just like, yeah, he lost the race. It's like, yeah, your sponsors are not happy. And Mikey's like, ah, it'll be okay.
You know how much money we just lost?
Mikey's like, ah, it'll be all right. We're good. It's like, you guys know how much money you're making. You're good.
You guys are filthy rich.
Yeah. So it's literally the perfect happy ending for everyone, which to an extent I like. I like happy endings, but at the same time, it's like these last 5 chapters are just like, what the fuck happened? Where did we go with all of this?
I mean, like, so the bad thing about this ending is like, yes, everyone got their happy ending, but at the same time, like all those struggles and sort of things that we got from all the stories and arcs was literally just thrown out the window
Completely gone, completely irrelevant.
because it literally resets them. I mean, you can go because the other one thing I like about this is just the, like Chifuya looking at the montage of just all the thing that Takamichi's gone through to get to this point where he can finally have some happy relationship with Hina,
Yeah.
which was a nice sort of montage and wrap up of the series itself. But the fact that yes, he still has all these experiences and whatnot and remembering sort of change him into the character that he is. But all those struggles and whatnot are literally just thrown out the window though, timeline wise for all the other characters.
Yeah. Which that's
It's
like the most like sour taste I have when it comes to this ending. Again, I
Yeah.
like a happy ending at times, but like this just throws out all those struggles. And I just I'm not honestly like, well, I still recommend this series to people, and I still think it's an unbelievably fun read. These last 5 chapters really put a sour taste in my mouth. Maybe if I read the whole thing again later in all one consecutive, maybe I'll be more open to it. It's like, it's kind of shit, but not as shit as I remember first read. But I don't know. I thought it was just a waste of everything that we've been through as a reader, personally.
Yeah, I really do because, like, in all terms, if you really look at it, the only ones who really get a happy ending is Mikey and Takamichi
Yeah.
because they're the only ones who remember. Takamichi finally is able to save everyone like he wanted to and finally be with Hina.
Yeah.
And Mikey finally got to do what he wanted of just making sure that everyone else had a good life, regardless of what situation he was in. The only reason he stayed where got to continue his own good life because Takamichi dragged him up. Where everyone else, more or less in this time, they were just here for the ride.
Yeah. Which just like we're saying, just takes away from all the struggle that we went through for 275 chapters plus. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Like the ending, like I said at the beginning when I did my non-spoiler thoughts, like the ending kind of took this series from like maybe being like an 8 to like down to like a 6.5 or 7 for me. Like it's still a good series I'd recommend, but these last like I'm not joking, literally like the last 10 chapters of the series really just like what the fuck are we doing? Like we're all over the place with this plot. Like I mean, it's still not terrible. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's just like again, like what are we doing? I mean, I hate that everything that we went through, all the emotion and all the pain that we suffered and went through was just all disregarded. Even though it's great to see everyone get that happy ending, like we like really, I feel like almost the writing was on the wall from the very beginning, where it's like we're gonna get a happy ending for everyone, no matter what. No
Yeah.
matter what, I don't give a fuck if it's gonna ruin your reading experience. Everyone's getting a happy ending. That was the vibe that I almost got, where it's just
Even
like the
took an
writing's on the
extra
wall.
panel when Shifuya was remembering sort of Takamichi's journey, it's just him, Takamichi's back, just him saying, "I'm going to save Baji and Emma too."
Yeah, like the writing was on the fucking wall, and we just didn't see it. Is really the best way to put it. Like I said, still a great series. This is almost a 2-hour episode of us breaking it down, which that's pretty legit. I mean, still a great series. I definitely recommend it because it's a fast and fun read. But man, just be prepared for a wacky ending. Is all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts that you have that you want? Because we covered all the major plot points. We got the perfect. Any other points that you want to throw out there with anything? Because if not, we can probably wrap this up because we are about to be 2 hours in. This thing, the Roadcaster, reached its limit on recording because I need to clear the
Hey.
memory card. So I don't have audio for this episode. I only have it via the video, which is fine.
Oof.
So hopefully there's no issues. There shouldn't be. But yeah, like this thing literally stopped recording about 30 minutes in. This is still good though. We're good on Streamlabs, which is important. But anyway,
Alright.
any last thoughts though?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Well, let's hit the music. Let's actually get out of here because this was a long one. All right, music's hit.
All right. Like, comment, subscribe, rate, whatever your platform allows. It does help. If you're watching this on Sparky 3, subscribe there. Definitely go over to Anime on Plus and subscribe there if you actually just care about this show and say screw Sparky 3. Thank you very much. Bye.
Do everything that he said and more, and definitely comment down below if you enjoy the spoiler manga stuff, because again, we haven't done it in a while. This is the first one since My Hero, when this current season 6 of the anime was currently the most up-to-date manga content. So it has been a long time since we've done a full spoiler cast. If this is something that you want to see more, please let us know, and maybe let us know series you'd want us to maybe talk about. I don't know, we'd like to know that. But give your thoughts on Tokyo Revengers. We want to know, how did you feel about the ending? If you have read all it in, if you're an anime only viewer that don't give a shit about spoilers, what's your thought on the series and on the ending now that we've broken it all down? We want to know your thoughts. With all that said, thank you so much for making all of the end. If you did, hopefully you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and a happy Black Friday shopping time if you plan to do any of that. Until next time, guys, we'll see you next week with live episodes with 95. Have a good one.